curved shoulder emblem. It's from Pop Goes the Monkey. And I love them because, you know, not every model has removable shoulders. So you can't always just rely on, you know, just a shoulder swap from Pop Goes the Monkey. So they've got your back by making these as well. So I'm going to get that on there before we go too far, so it's embedded in there. So I've got my emery board right here. I like to use a little water. And there's a little nub on this blood drop. And let me see if I can get it perfectly smooth real quick. So I got some of it off right there. And I used some water. And I used the emery board on the 3D printed stuff very carefully with like a wet sand on things like that to get them nice and round. It's way safer than trying to carve it down. Feels nice and smooth, guys. Nice and smooth. Now we got to get it on there. That's the hard part. Rottweiler with the resub. Already? Huh. Thank you, brother. Nat says, I tried those shoulder things before and found that they were too small and would crack when trimming. That was before the new resin. This is Shapeways fulfillment. On a lot of this size stuff, go with the Shapeways fulfillment. In my humble opinion. This has never changed. Because they use like a powdered resin or some shit like that. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Wyatt would know. Did I print these? No. I don't know how that shit works. Alright, we're gonna be careful. Okay, that's not careful. Put a little super glue right here. Using like the smallest amount of glue possible. Bro, I'm so lucky. Like, I forgot about these purity seals. It actually fits right in there. So now he is a Blood Angel Primaris Chaplain on bike. Warg says, pretty keen to see this biker Chaplain painted up. Warg, I got your back. Can I get some strong man love in the chat for Warg and for Rottweiler? Thank you guys so much. And again, it's Pop Goes the Monkey. That's where these shoulder pads come from. And I think when you print with them, they'll ask you like what kind you want. And for this really tiny stuff like this, that just comes like a billion of them on a thing. Like I use the Shapeways from them. Anything that's like model add-ons and stuff like that, and actual models, I use the monkey resin. All right, so I should have put that on before I primed them, but I just remembered. It'll be fine. It'll ride. So I did a very light rattle can primer, which is why it looks like shit. So we're gonna just do a quick airbrush base coat. And real quick, I'm just going to shoot some air here to make sure that super glue is cured. Rottweiler says, you have a light brown on that base coat? No. It's just really thin, poorly covered spray paint. I use like the thinnest, least covering spray enamel from a spray paint possible, and so it'll never be black. It's terrible, but it's all I care about. Stick. I want something for my paint to stick to and protect the, and create a barrier between plastic and acrylic. And so I actually would never buy a can of spray paint that's like 3x coverage or anything. No, I don't want that. I want like almost no paint there. I want this enamel because nothing's stronger than enamel. And I don't care about like fully covering the model, because the truth is you can basically just airbrush paint over plastic. It just won't be that secure. So even though there's like some plastic still showing through in some of these like deeper crevices, it'll be fine because I'm about to do a black base coat right now. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that 90% of the surface has some amount of this enamel on it, it'll ride. I've been doing this for literally 20 years. You don't need to like completely cover this guy in black primer. So, as is typical for me, I will put some black in the pot. That's coal black, okay? And this is not the blackest black. Coal black is a little off. It's a little dusty. Like almost like a dark gray. It's got great stick and great body. And as always, I like to thin that down with some transparent black, which is basically just black pigment. Am I out of transparent black? No. I go through transparent black so frequently. So much. I'm looking around to see if there's another one open on my desk somewhere. Am I back to shampoo bottling the transparent black? I think I am. So, a little water in there. Zero Meyer, what's up, man? Do you know why I'm not getting notified when you're streaming? Because Twitch will not notify 100% of my followers. No social media platform will, because you probably follow dozens of streamers. So if you got a notification every time every streamer you follow went live, you would just turn notifications off. So what they do is some percentage of your audience will get notified that you're live based on some other factors I'm unaware of. Starting to sound like science reappraise? No, it's not. It's just my guts. So this is transparent black and coal black, as I mentioned. And I'm just going to move this out of the splash zone. About to airbrush these paintbrushes up. We're going to take a step back, big cone. And we're just going to do big flashlight, just shining the flashlight down on them. We're not looking to sit here and make it opaque. We're just looking to get it covered in one consistent sheet of similarly opaque black. And you can see how much blacker it already is. Do it again, and we're just trying to slowly stack the black. And you see I'm just jamming this black everywhere that my rattle can didn't get, and it's doing just fine. So again, I like to thin down the coal black with the transparent black. Just hitting it with some air. Let me just seat the needle real quick. Put some more transparent black in there. Maybe a little water. Let's hit it again. Just wrap it. I just want it to be nice and black. Great pray. It's just my gut feeling. Yeah. All right. Just taking a look. I want it to be just its nicest, most opaque black possible. So right now I'm just airing it. I'm just throwing air down. I'm letting it dry. I'm just kind of observing what I have. And I want to get to that really nice state. It's real nice. It could be nicer though. Could be nicer. Now, what we might do, we might go for something a little bit different because, you know, I've done black a lot lately. It comes up a lot, which is why, you know, it's important to get good at painting black, which, you know, just means get good at edge highlighting, which, coincidentally, edge highlighting black is the easiest to edge highlight. It's so easy, which I've proven many times. But sometimes I want to make things look like they're shiny. And when I have my airbrush out, there's a certain way I go about doing that. And so I'm feeling a little bit of inspiration right now from that. Grabbing more transparent black. I'm just going to do another thin coat. This is mostly transparent black, just nice and thin. And it's very low opacity. I'm just making sure it's getting everywhere in there, because if I can get things just set up on, you know, the black, it's much easier later. All right. And now look, our Blood Angels logo is looking sick. Now, so here's something interesting. So you see, while the paint is still kind of shiny and wet, you see that there are shines on it. And you see how you can see there's some nice abrupt, aggressive things that happen based on how you hold it to the light. See? And so modulating the black off of black just makes it gray, right? Just dark gray. But there's a way you can highlight it to like maybe make it maybe stay black, but it's shiny black. So that typically means you got to nurture it, and you got to come in with short, aggressive highlights. Okay. Now, anytime there's like an angle, like see this angle right here that keeps flashing, that's definitely a big focal point for that effect. So what we want to do is, while it's super black right now, but we want to send some modulation in, but then we're going to cut black back in to erase it. So probably what I'm going to do is, let's just put, just for the sake of convenience, here's some dark neutral gray, because I'm going to be going very subtle at first. So since this was right there, I'll grab it. This is one of the only times you'll catch me grabbing it. Damn, I need to change my water out. I forgot to change it out. It's just dirty water everywhere. So this should get a little gray. Low opacity. Very thin. So what we want is I want to get a little bit of a shine right here to start from the bottom. Real short and very subtle, okay? And then I'm gonna go right on this line. Right here. A little bit right there. I'm gonna get artistic with this stuff. A little bit right here. It's almost based on just what I can reach with my airbrush. So there's just a little bit of dark gray inside the pot right now, just helping us really respect the black. And it's barely doing anything right now to your eye. But we're gonna work into it. And so, like I said, I'm barely hitting it. Okay. And so a lot of times I preach, don't even bother with this step unless you're gonna do it the way I'm about to do it. But it's gonna be a little time consuming. Okay, so you start to see the grays subtly change things, okay? And we're going to have to use a combination of airbrushing and paintbrushing to achieve this effect. Disc Flux. Put your Primaris Chaplain pop in a wheelie and whips. Nice. Now, very, very dark gray. Let's send a little drop of sky blue into this mix, which will brighten it in value, but also blue it up. And I've added more water, so it's still really thin. Grab my toothbrush. There it is on the floor. Okay, so now what we're going to do is start to get patient and detailed. Just real short highlight action. Again, right at the bevel. And we're going to have to carve that back. But like I mentioned, how we're going to be doing some paintbrushing to offset this. Really short action right here. Really short action right there. Right there. What up, big baby? Right there, you see, we're just kissing it. This is this bevel right here. Don't worry. Let's see what I'm doing with this bevel. And you see, it's already not black anymore. We already made a gray model. Keep the tip clean. So you just kiss it. Just pop, pop, pop. Just barely anything. Okay. Now let's add some white to the mix. Now we got some transparent white. You know, let's see what kind of impact transparent white has in this. While I try to keep it thin. There's a little blue in there. Another drop of blue. Let's get a little flow improver in there. A little more water. Nice and wet. See that? Pop the tip off of the cap, clean the tip. All right, so you want to be careful now. Just touch it. Touch it. See, we're barely spending any time. Just real quick. Hit it, quit it. See? Just want to keep it sharp. Back to him. Just pop it. Don't try to repaint this guy. You see how we're starting to kind of get that effect it had when it was in the light, when we were moving it around the light now? But it's still too gray. So we're going to have to repair some of this. Because we don't want it to be all just gray. So I'm not even going to go brighter than that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dump the pot. Okay. Let's get rid of some of this paint. Let's do a quick hobo rinse. And just going to get that blue-gray out of the pot. Okay, let's put a little transparent black back in. See if I can squirt a little bit out of here. And so this should be very low opacity transparent black. Okay, and we're gonna go back and sculpt some of our highlights back into compliance. Okay, so I'm gonna angle extreme like this. You guys see that? So I basically erased the bottom of that bevel highlight, you see? With that extreme angle. I'm gonna actually aim in this gutter. A little transparent black in there. Get back to the center field right there. And what I'm doing is fighting back our gray with this very low opacity transparent black. Okay? Shortening the length of it, essentially. Right here on the shoulder. Hand. So we've gone back in time, you see, to re-sculpt it. So we can kind of erase the overspray that connects it too deeply to our black and push the highlight to be more extreme. Again, let's angle extreme angle. Right there. See, we left some of that highlight up top. We're gonna run back into the gutter. Let's go back to the midfield right here. Push it down a little bit. I'm gonna ramp up the PSI just a little bit on the throttle. Ever free. What Space Marine Legion is this for? Blood Angels as it stands. Push it down a little bit right there. Up on the shoulder, you see we're just gonna re-sculpt that gray highlight right there. Super thin down black. You see that extreme black that shows back up? That's where a lot of this comes from. So it's a little bit more time consuming to do it this way, but this is when I modulate the black, that's kind of how I do it. I want like something like 80% of the real estate to still be pure black. You see, we've got just really sharp, blurry, crisp highlights, you see? Where 90% of it's still black. Perhaps more. Just doing some visual inspections. Yep, that's good. That's as black as I need to go. And so airbrushing black, even if you're doing some modulating, shouldn't take very long. Because even if you're doing it like this, and the only reason I'm doing it like this is because the bike provides me with enough real estate. Everfree 1992, thank you for the follow. Recoil, the shoulder pad field with the BI icon should be red. So Chaplain's rep the The chapter color on that on the chapter shoulder pad. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Spoiler alert. That's it. That's all you need to do. Let me rinse the brush. Put the cap back on before I stab myself. Do a quick hobo rinse and fling. God damn it. Just spilled a bunch of paint on my leg. Like a hobo. Ugh. Let me just store the airbrush. Now, Rottweiler just gifted 5 subs to the chat. If you just got gifted a sub because Rottweiler is in there, throwing all that love around, say thanks to this guy. 500 bonus Yodox for Rottweiler, the legend. Wait, did he do more than 5? I feel like there's more in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5. It's just move. I see. Rottweiler, thank you, brother. Look, I'll be right back, Rottweiler. I'm going to go get paint water because I need to get paint water. Give me like 2 seconds. All right, we're back. Rottweiler, thank you so much. See that hype train in there. Rottweiler, I know painting black is near and dear to your heart. So this technique is not very sustainable on power armor sized dudes. But it works great on big stuff. Get some water out on this palette. DLB, thank you for the sub, homie. Now, what we need some black. There's some of our watered down transparent black. Here's some of our coal black. 1 second. Coal black. We've already said that there's some coolness to our black. Some blue. And we need some bold titanium white down here. I use a lot of this. Brand new? Okay, let's see. We'll see if you're brand new. A little flow improver in case you need some flow improver. A little water right here. Move some shit out of the way. My desk is a mess from all this Blood Angel stuff. Alright. make some crispy lines. Oh, lock into the obesity cradle. Move some shit. Let's get in focus. Let's correct the light a little bit so you can see how dark it really is. So let's frame some lines out real quick. So here's our black. And maybe a little water. And so first what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that there's a pin wash here. Just using semi-opaque, slightly wet black. Using the tip of our brush pulling back to... Oh, God, I can't see shit. Tip of the brush pulling back to the heart. So anywhere that sits where any of our airbrushing got, we're going to make sure it's nice and chiseled black in there. See that? And I'm just using the black paint. Semi-opaque and a little wet. Now I don't even know, like this thing right here, I'll probably paint this a completely different color right here. See? Whatever that, like that latch. But it's good to put the border around it nonetheless before you start highlighting. See, semi-opaque, a little wet. And again, I don't know what that latch is going to be. You know, so what I'll do is I'll scrub that thing out to black. I doubt I'll keep it in the same exact spectrum as the rest of the model, so just a little light coat of black for now. All right. Semi-opaque, a little wet, tip of the brush. Get inside that recess right there, rotate the model. Pull it back to your heart, maybe a little bit more black. So anywhere there's like a border or a recess and you can get it to be a little bit darker, go for it. Now, absolutely, you can use more traditional washing techniques if you wanted to, but I don't sacrifice on single HQs like that. I just go on gangster. You don't know if there's something wrong with my camera, but it looks brown. Let me see. Maybe it's too warm. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe it was, yeah, I think I had it warm for Blood Angels. Sorry. It's probably better. Yeah, I had the color balance set to more warm because otherwise you can't see the red. Thanks for good looking out. Good looking out, homie. Semi-opaque, a little wet. Let's stipple these nuts. Put little borders around them, basically. Nut wash. Even right here, take some of the moisture off your brush. Right there. Using the heart pull right there, we're just establishing more black right there on the bottom lip there. You can see that really showcases how not opaque the airbrushing was in the erasure step. Where you can still sort of see it now. It's dried a little bit. You see it's a little bit less pronounced. But again, semi-opaque and just a touch of moisture. I went up a little high there, but that's okay. When you move in the heart pull position, you mitigate how often you make mistakes like that. But I still made a mistake. But it's as it dries, you'll see it's not such a big deal. And so you see now it's working itself out. And this is only because, I use some grays to modulate. So the only reason I'm going through and pin washing it is because I decided to do it the more labor intensive version of making it black. See, you're going to go through anything that's not black because you touched it with gray. You have to go through and make it black. Any border. Now inside of here, this will probably be a different color. But you see, even if it wasn't going to be a different color, you would come in here and paint it. But I'm going to just go ahead and black it out right now. Because I'm assuming I'm going to do something with it special. That's a bonus detail. Now I'm going to go side by side, okay? So we're going to try to get this side of the bike done, then whip it out, and then do the other side. Okay? And we'll also do him. See, semi-opaque, a little wet. Heart pull strategy. Right there in the leg. Here on the foot. Here in this little Space Marine panel action right there. Get the boot. Wrap around. Sneak back here. See, always try to rotate and use the tip. Go straight back. And you can see the foot more now. Okay. Up here. And we're just taking a quick second to do this before we paint any trim or anything. Rotate the model, look for the easiest way to pull back. And again, you could just like, hey, I'm just going to oil wash this guy or something. You could do that. But I'm looking for that crispness. Okay, so we've done a little bit to help pull out some of the black in here. Now let's move Okay, so here's our straight up black. Some of that blue. Let's get a little bit blacker than that. What we're looking to do is make a very respectful dark blue gray. Now what you want is, you want to be mostly opaque and a little and more on the dry side here. And now on these easy edges, you can use the tracer technique. Okay? And so you want to respect the fact that this is our black real estate right here. Tracer technique is the easy technique. We're going to elevate up a little bit to the brighter blue. Down here. See, we're just skirting that rail. That 90-degree bevel exists, so we're just going to right it gently. Mostly a right and left motion, a little diagonal. Light brush pressure. See, we got some nice, really skinny, crisp lines. I'm going to lay the brush down a little bit more shallow to bring more of that line into the front facing. Right there. We're going to put a drop of white in over here. This is our brightest step yet. And we're going to try to isolate it down here on the highlight region. We're going to try to skip up to here. Using the tracer technique, which I teach in the 101 curriculum. Nice, really nice sharp edges. Okay, all the way up here. That's where you want to be your brightest. Now this is high risk because we're not respecting the real estate very much. We're coming in with a much brighter position. So you just want to be very gentle. And lightly skirt that rail. Take your time to move it into the next position. You see? Now you can always just jump into something a little bit more respectful real quick as you see that it's getting more and more dangerous. Because the more aggressive you're shifting with this technique, the more difficult it is to pretend you don't make mistakes when you make mistakes. Now, we've got this bevel, which is going to be tricky because so much stuff is in the way. This would be better to leave the bike off to do. So what we want to do is just find something respectful first. And you want to see it's really hard to flatten out and not hit that book. So we're just going to kind of cheat the angle. You see I'm basically perpendicular to the model with how shallow I have presented my brush to ride this rail, where I was a much steeper on those sharp 90-degree angles. But this thing is not 90 degrees, so it requires a different angle. And you got to be aware of what you're pulling into. Don't fight it. If it's not deploying and it's not happening, just stop, reload the brush. Be aware that you're about to hit that little bookmark right there. And just don't fuck up. So we were able to just use crafty angles to trace that line right there. Skinny and straight every time. Now, let me grab a little more white. So this is our brightest pass yet. And I'm going to skip around and just kind of hit sharp angles. So there's a bunch of white mixed into this blue now. And this is where I'm going to bring my intrigue into the model. That pop, pop, pop. Now let's get a new pile of nearly almost unfucked with white. Let's try to keep it high opacity, low moisture. Trace it down right here. Ping, ping. Look at that. Don't fight it. Real crispy. Now we've got to do something about that center line again, right? We got to bring some more intrigue to the center bevel, which is our high risk bevel. Got a little broken up. It's okay. There we go. Now, I feel like I can probably hit it. Man, I feel like I might be able to actually hit it this way. Yeah, this is tricky because I can't get shallow. So if you try to come in from this way, you're going to hit the base and you're going to be a little bit too extreme there. Just going to kind of stick it out from that top angle. Now, anywhere there's these panels, you want to hit that lower shelf. So let's get respectful first. Pop some white back into it. I'm just using the piles on our palette we already made. Right there. Shout out to Thug War. What's up? And oh, and I missed Chiral Trevin. What's up, brother? 69 months. What a legend. How you been, brother? Legend. See, now I'm using a little bit of the heart pull strategy right here. Tip of the brush. Pull straight back. And get those bottom shelves. Look how nice that starts to look. Okay, let's finish the action. Let's get let's stipple on these nuts real quick. Sewing machine stroke. Tip of the brush, high opacity, low moisture. Simple. Just trying to acknowledge the fact that it does have bolts on it. Wow. Now, this is something I would do, which is go back, get some respectful gray. And you see that there is actually a shelf here between this ammo ejector and the actual bike. So I just traced that line right there. Right there as well. Right there as well. Because he is my character, I would take the extra time to do that. There's a slight shelf right here. And I would hit that as well. Real subtle. That's it. It's just rinse and repeat. And that's how I would if I'm gonna modulate black, it's like that. And you saw how in the beginning I was like how we were like letting the reflection pop off of it, and you want to emulate that, right? Extremely short focal length or light waves, right? Like it's barely kissing it and it is stopping. Where normally we feather our transitions in much deeper. Okay, let's finish this side of the bike though real quick before we do a whip session, guys. Go buenos. So, and this is the easy stuff. Space Marines like this. Anytime you can do a tracer technique, right? Always take that second to rotate the model, change the viewing angle, run that tracer on the frame. Hold your breath, swing it from right to left. I'm going to look for that mostly horizontal approach. Anywhere you see those bevels, you can just trace your heart's content. And I'm using a respectful gray. This is not nearly as bright as those last few lines were. And so when you're being a little bit more respectful, you can be a little faster, a little bit more fast and loose. Because mistakes are going to be a little bit easier to conceal. Camo specs on line. See, we're even doing this housing for that like axle or whatever, ball joint. I don't know. Fucking how shit works. I'm gonna get a little bit more respectful. In my gray, a little bit more black was added up here. So when I'm doing this stuff, this is where you're not gonna really see me use grays. Just make gray. See here again, shallow. So we got to get like perpendicular. Curious Orb, what's up, man? It's like a barely a bevel at all. See, always rotate. Look for that rail slide action. This one's gonna be tricky right here. There you go. There's a secondary bevel on this section right here. Let's get a little bit more respectful than that. So we're going it pretty dry. Okay. Almost no moisture on my brush. So when that happens, it's going to transfer slowly. So the moisture is not going to want to just innately jump off onto the model there, so you might find yourself tempted to push harder or try to scrape it harder. If you find yourself at that moment where that's the only way the paint's going to come off, just stop. Stop the instinct to push hard and scrape it back and forth. Reload the brush. Have the battle on the palette, not on the model. And so anytime you can deploy the tracer technique like this, you're going to be a little bit more confident knowing your lines are going to be a little bit more crispy. See that? Ping, 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 ping. Easy. Binary Solo, thank you for the follow. And Curious Orb, keep it tight. Swing it from right to left. That's right. Recoil. Hold your breath. Swing it from right to left. Okay, let's see if we can reinforce right here. A little brighter. So now we're just kind of upgrading the value game for some intrigue. Be a little bit more white. Maybe a touch of the blue. A flow improver to slow the dry time down. Something like this. Make sure it's not too wet. There. Load back up, don't fight it. Yep. Let's rinse the brush. When you're working that dry, every now and then you just have to wash the brush out because the bristles are going to start getting caked on paint. And you want to do a quick reset, dry the brush up. Go. Just pop it out a little bit more. Ping, ping, ping. Rottweiler, today, thank you, dude. Redgrass contacted me. Got the glass palette on the way. Hell yeah, brother. Welcome. We're just going to deploy a little bit more right here. Let's make sure to bring a little bit more of that hype, almost white right here. See, we're not redoing it all, we're just augmenting it. Ping, ping, ping. Here. You can play it when when you got so much easy tracing angles. Sometimes you might find yourself just, pushing the pace on how hard you're going on respect, because it is a lot safer than the heart pull strategy. And Marines are covered in easy tracers. See, just always take that second to rotate. Change it back to that horizontal plane. You find yourself getting lazy, that's when you're going to find your lines getting all shitty. Stipple under the grill right there. Now, this is a bevel I've been kind of putting off because it's high risk. But right here, there's one. And so I downgraded how dark the gray is. And so what I did there to get that first line built was a tracer with the tip of my brush though. So I'm like trying to just skirt that bevel, and it's high risk. So that's why I went down much darker for safety. And now I'll slowly nurture it back up to something a little brighter. Because there's no way I can actually access this bevel. Right there. So, got it, nailed it. Nailed it, rinse the brush. Look how sick that black is looking. Ping, 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 ping. Does anyone still doubt that black is secretly the easiest edge highlighting technique? All right, let's get this last section back here. Back to the palette. Right, so black is what it was. This is where we started. We use a little of the blue to make a gray. And again, it's like this is like actually how dark it is. Like, hold on, let me get it. This is like more accurate. It's actually still darker than that. So we're finding something that's a highlight, but it's very subtle. And so you want to just kind of use your eyes, look at that puddle, and look at this. And you're like, will that highlight it? Respectfully, find the correct angle, the safe angle, and trace it. So this is going to be tricky back here. So getting these bevels, not easy. This one right here, we're going to respect it more. We're going to introduce more black. You're touching my heart with blacks right now, Rottweiler says. I got you, man. Respect. You can elevate it a little bit. Right there. Now, this nexus back here, hard to access. So you just got to kind of see that and not try to and not bang your brush into things around it by accident. So right here, I'm trying to clear the path as I move in with respectful highlight, not hit these purity seals. See, I skirted right under it. Now the hard one is this one because there's no real way to lay the brush over on it. So what you want to do is just back to the most respectful gray possible. Very subtle. And it's a little wet, just honestly, so that I can lower the opacity. And we're going to heart pull. So it's not like nearly as dry as everything else had been. And that's because I wanted to use a little bit moisture to lower the opacity, which means that I have a two points of respect, which is opacity-based respect and value-based respect. So you see it's very subtle. So what I can do is I can reinforce it and kind of just cultivate it to be a little brighter. Don't fight it. Get a little bit more on the bristles. Get excess moisture off. And that's the heart pull. Pull straight back to your heart. And you'll have a much better chance of getting a straight line. Tracer, a little sneaky tracer right there. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, so easy. So fucking easy. Recoil says, from Mom, love my drawing, Kenny. I'm going to get it framed for it today. I'll send you a picture when I have it up on my wall. Thank you so much. Let me get some love for Recoil. Cool. Mom's Club. Recoil finally got his package. Man, I don't want to say we had to smuggle it to Australia, but you got it. Much love, brother. Odd S Gaming Corner. Hello from Norway. What's up, man? Josh says clean AF. It is, and it's actually just so easy, right? The tracing technique is based on opacity and moisture and angle. And with something like black, it's actually super easy because all we're doing is making it brighter or darker, and based on what you see with your eyes determines when it's time to make it brighter and when it's time to make it darker. And so right now we're going to make it a little brighter. Here. Find a safe angle. Just there, just pop it out, you see? Ping, ping, ping. And the mistake people make is they just pull out like Fortress Gray or whatever GW's gray is, and they start trying to edge highlight their black with that shit. So we're going to sneak into that Nexus again. A little bit of brighter gray. Running our tracer right there. Want to sneak in, invert it again. So we're not getting enough highlight on this viewing angle. You see, we highlighted it and you can see it, but from this viewing angle, it's invisible. And that just is because of our angle, because the approach vector makes us very steep. We need to get more shallow and deliberately kind of lay our brush down further to get it to transfer to the correct viewing angle. And if you can't get it to work, then that's when you just have to trace it. I mean, hard pull it. It looks like we got it now. Now it's visible. Let's get in here and do a couple of stipples. Right there. Not easy. I mean, I did just paint 4 land speeders that are just Space Marine angles like this, and none of them are this sharp because it's an older model. So this thing is like, this amount of panels is like 1/8 as many panels as one land speeder has. And a land speeder doesn't have nearly as much like outer edge panels, so there's a lot of hard pulls mixed in there. When you look, so you see, look at the land speeders, and you see the same type of edge highlighting is happening there. And you see we have outer frames that we can trace on in there, but there's a lot of stuff we really can't access as easily. And there's a lot of softer edges, where this is all crisp 90 degrees here. A lot of these edges, just because of the age of model and limitations of injection molding at the time, that, you know, even though it's like a 90-degree shelf, it's like a soft kind of round bevel. And so you got to be really careful when you're fucking trying to trace on something that's kind of round like that. And so you can see here in this picture, so like this whole thing up top, this fin, where I got this line, that shit is not a fucking razor edge, guys. That shit is like soft Play-Doh. And you kind of have to manufacture these edges in. And that's where, this is where your heart pull is going to come in handy on this stuff. Right? And we get to trace on this stuff pretty easily. And this sidewall. A little bit up here, a little bit here. But then you're back to tracing down here. Or a heart pull in here. A little heart pull here. But it's like so many planes. I mean, I basically flip a land speeder over 100 times. You know, so I've got a... But it's not that hard. Honestly, the edge highlight part is pretty easy on them. It's just tedious. Edge highlighting is tedious, not hard. Recoil probably would have easier to smoke on narcotics. Azrael, what's up, brother? The Huff tuning in. The Huff, I found another box of Girl Scout cookies in my freezer today. Okay, since I'm going to finish this side, then we're going to do a whip. So we're almost there. This side also includes the Chaplain's actual leg there. I'm going to wash it out with more light. Bear with me here. So we're going to do some black, some blue, a little white, more blue. More white right here. We're going to try to carefully see if we can trace this. Now, sometimes you're tracing something and you're just making it harder than it has to be when a heart pull will do it. That's a little aggressive. Let's downgrade. There you go. Rotate. Right there. Switch to the heart pull right here. See that? Now, on the toe, you basically just need to do like a half moon highlight. So you're going to go to the heart pull strategy. And just do like that front right there. And we're going to add more white to the mix. And we're going to be willing to do a sharper aggressive one in the interior. Right there. Just so it's like ping. That's basically pure white. Now, there is another section of the boot there, Azrael. Says, painting some tiny planets and globes tonight. They're tiny and freestanding. It's a challenge referencing back to the lensing you did on your Plague Marines. The little potion bottles. Ooh. Azrael, take a look. There's like a second little like ledge here. And we're just gonna sneak in right there. Now we're gonna get even more respectful. We're gonna add some black back to it. And we're gonna do an interior highlight with a heart pull. Inner panel. See, we already pin washed that black back in there. You don't want to erase it when you're doing this. You want to let it ride. That one got a little wacky, so I'm going to go back to black real quick. A little bit, well, the dark gray. Just kind of reshape it. We're going to pop out the highlight again. And we're going to try to just carefully, and this is why you need to get good at heart pulling. Because you can't just trace everything on a Space Marine. You got to get inside these panels sometimes. And so it's important to bring those pops out like that in the workup, or you're not saying it's that shiny. So you got to be willing to take it there. Now, if at any point it gets a little wacky, just go back, get a little bit of watered down black, and filter it down and reshape the line. Just like when we did that airbrush and reshaping. Okay, we're going to slide in right here. Little trace technique. We're going to go for a heart pull right here. We're going to try to trace this shelf right here. Right there. Invert. Right there. Now in the black ball. Oh, let's grab some black. So I went in too deep right here, so I'm going to bring the black back in. Bring our shadow back in. And sometimes you have to kind of reestablish a line. And that's what I love about black, is that process is easy. Right there. Now let's turn the light back down to where it actually is on the spectrum. You see, very righteous. Exclamation point whip, guys. We're going to do a whip session in 1 second. We almost got this side done. Now I'm going to switch to some quick heart pulls. I'm just going to respect it with a dark gray. Just going to jump the gun, get a little bit more highlight on the brush. Like so. Now I think that's black right there. You see, I'm just catching any little edge I can. There's a little panel right here, a little hip armor panel. You can barely see it because how dark the light is, but you should see this line. Right there. Or not. A little bit in there. Let's sneak in right here. Like I said, I'm doing this whole side. Rotate. And see, look at all this tracing excess. Now, I'm just going to shortcut heart pull right here. And what I did was I just got more respectful in the mix, went down to darker gray. Now went back up to brighter gray. He's got a gauntlet on this side right here. Go for the heart pull, rotate. Right there, rotate. So you get that whole connection. Just out of focus, tight, super professional. Apologize for that. Let's get a little speck of the white in here. Let's get inside of here. A little bit brighter. He's got his hand right here, a little tracer technique. Let's get a little bit more respectful. Darker, a little darker gray. Let's get a little whiter. Heart pull. Tracer. Fingers are always a little challenging. Just want to do a little bit, just kind of kiss these knuckles. That's tracer. Right there. He's got the second knuckle on his fingers are visible right here. This is going to be more of a heart pull. Right there. We're coming in with a little bit more brightness to this interior piece right here again. Now, real quick before we jump into whip, let's grab some of the black. And let's just make sure to get that connection joint repainted black so that it's not competing with any highlights. Right there. Here's the big one. Pow, son. Oh, here's the one we should do this. Let's get back to a quick gray. And I don't know if, I mean, I probably should, but I can do it in this. I can do it while I'm here. Just get some gray going here. If you want, you can just using the same cool gray mix. Paint your knee skulls. Get it, just knock them out. It'll dry down. It'll be a little darker than that, so then you can highlight it up. He's got all his trim still too, so we got to do all that too. But we're not focusing on that. We're focusing on edge highlighting black. It's so easy that I can edge highlight this entire Primaris Chaplain today with black. So right now we have this whole side of the bike and that side of his body, and then we're gonna do a whip session and then do it even faster on this side. And look how sick our Pop Goes the Monkey fucking shoulder pad fucking looks. It's not even a shoulder pad, guys, if you're just tuning in. Shoulder emblem. Pop Goes the Monkey, Blood Angels right there. Fuck yeah. Ballin'. Okay, exclamation point whip. Set them down. Now let's see if we can break our record for edge highlighting. So we learned about how to do this, what brush strokes to use, and now we're going to do it all over again. And we're going to take the lessons we learned from this side and try to do it faster on this side. Okay? So what we know is we got to establish some respect here. So we airbrushed these blacks in. Use some of this blue to brighten it to get our first stage of gray. We want to use higher opacity, lower moisture We want to utilize the edge of our brush. We want to find a correct angle. We want to just drag it down that rail. You want to typically use a horizontal pathway or a right to left. You don't want to make windshield wiper motions. You want to show it some respect, at least at first, as you build up. Always take that second to move the model before you move the brush. So we're doing our first ghost lines right now. Hold your breath, swing it from right to left. Shout out to Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy. What's up? Rottweiler said, so Dust asked me to ask you about he kicked your ass in a tournament. Wait, what? That doesn't sound like a question. That sounds like a statement. All right, so we got our ghost lines right there. Let's run back in. Let's get second round, right? We've upgraded the value, so it's brighter. And now that we showed it respect, this second line is less risky. Want to be careful. You want to find that trace technique. Hold your breath, swing it right to left. Rotate, look for that easy pull right there. You see, it's just slightly brighter. You see that? Now, right here, we have an easier path here, so we should be able to, let's get a little brighter preemptively. High opacity, low moisture right here. And let's lay our brush down, almost perpendicular. And let's get that bevel. So using the trace technique right here. Catch that frame right there. Rotate. Catch that frame right there. Now, there's another bevel in there, and this one's this one's the tricky one because you can't actually really access it with the flat of your brush. So you have to use the tip of your brush and keep your eyes on it, and just try to drag the tip of your brush on that seam. Now, if you're fighting it, like I'm about to fight it, so I stopped, I reloaded the brush. Right there. So, good first round. Rottweiler said friendly banter. Between who? Between you and me? Why'd you drag Duff into it? Now I have to go kick Duff's ass. He's gonna be like, why are you doing this to me, Kenny? I'm gonna be like, Rottweiler said I had to, man. Oh, Bonet just got back. Hey, baby. Sandra's been hanging out in the Beats Lab down here. Her food's down here. So you might want to bring it back up with you when you're ready. How was your time?
It was awesome. Are you live?
Yeah.
It was really good.
Good.
Got to snuggle lots of babies.
Bonet got to cuddle with babies, guys.
I have a great story for you afterward.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was hilarious. I guess I could tell you, but it was hilarious.
Does it involve poop?
I mean, it does.
I knew it. Fucking knew it.
So I brought ice creams over,
Yeah?
and of course, Lion, who is under 2 years old, got the ice cream in his hair. So we thought, you know what, a bath would be a good idea. Well, Sissy and Lion were in the bath together, and he pooped.
You were just talking.
I literally told Adrian that, and it was hilarious. Poor Adrian was gagging, trying to figure it out. Luckily, I had the tiny one. And, yeah. She was like, "Don't you want kids?" And I was like, "Oh, Adrian."
It's funny because I said the only poop that's not funny is pooping in the bathtub, and then Bonet convinced me that pooping in the bathtub is actually hilarious.
It's the funniest.
And you've continued to prove your point.
Yep. It was hilarious for everyone but poor Adrian. Poor Adrian wanted to cry.
Not funny to the mom involved.
Yep, but she handled it like a champ because she is a champ. And that was hilarious. Anyway, yep.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Come on, Bear. It was pretty funny, though.
Deathwalker Duff said something about Necrons are better. Necrons are really good right now, man. They're like secretly one of the best armies of 40k. We're just popping these edges out, guys. Oh yeah, I forgot. We were talking about how Duff was being mean to me because Rottweiler said he was. Let's lay it down. Let's be careful right here. Ow! Pulling the old submarine in the tub move. That's right, Disflex. Warg, yep. Bath poops, classic. Also the part where, like, here's ice cream, 2-year-old. Ice cream is already in his hair. So we see we're just finding those peaks, guys, popping them. Look at that. Getting it done. Deathwalker, not enough bath toys. Kids will make more. Yikes. Gotta make sure to go to near white at one point here. So you want to take it to just about white in a couple of these sharper angles. Now let's get, let's go back in time with a little bit more respect, guys. Get a little black in there. We want to get this shelf. You might even be able to trace this thing. And I'm probably even going to paint those a different color. Let's get up here and do our stipples. Hold on a second, guys. Apparently, the pooping continues. Sarah tried to run into the house with some poop on her butt. Some bonehead freaked out. Alright, what are we working on? Edge highlights? Oh, yeah. I was trying to make it more respectful. So a little blue, a little black. I'm going to slide in right here. Catch that little frame. Too easy. 23 minutes left, guys. Rob Wallace says, exact quote. Next time you talk to Kenny, ask him about when I kicked his ass in a tournament. That's what he said. You kicked my ass? I have literally never played Impending Duff. Talk about somebody else? Did you get him confused with somebody else? Let's slide in here. Let's get it done. Get a little bit brighter. Come on. Going against the clock. Keeping a high opacity, low moisture, guys. Trying to find the correct angle. A little weak right there. I can do a little better. Let's go back in time, just a little bit more respect. There we go. Warg? Alright, Warg, check it out. Real quick heart pull. Can we do it? Alright, there's an angle. I was like looking for the angle. He says, love your work, Kenny. Here's a drink on me. Thanks, man. I get some strong man love in the chat for Warg. Warg, we're going to try to find this tracer right here. Here. Let's invert it. This crazy pattern. Warg, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate the money, dog. Thanks for finding value in my content, supporting me. Throw a little hype in that chat. Here. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I stole the remote from upstairs. ADHD left it downstairs. Pow, son. 19 minutes left. Wizaro Elementaro, what's up, man? Are Night Lords viable in today's 40K? Well, They are, but the new codex is about to come out and validate their cool stratagems and stuff that make them viable. Like, you still have to, I mean, you can play, if you're playing the old codex, you're gonna deal with some, you know, headaches like the one wound Marines and shit. But there's some pretty enticing Night Lord stratagems. And Warlord and Relics and stuff like that. But that's gonna vanish here soon, so it's hard to say. New book on the horizon. Got 3d6 charge stratagems. You've got I mean, multiple ways to deep strike in and not fail charges. Like, there's a awesome no fallback stratagem, which I love. Which you know, it's great for it's great to use on Warp Talons. I mean, you can do a lot of wily shit with them. There's basically, like, if you have like two badass characters in like Warp Talons, there's like basically you can like 3d6 charge the Warp Talons off the deep strike. You can turn like a 9-inch charge into like a 7-inch charge with like a baller with a built-in reroll as long as he's coming out of cover. So you can get like a Smash Lord and the Warp Talons in any fight pretty much automatically, and then you can lock down. You can like combo charge like bunch of units with the Warp Talons. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to start falling back. And you're like, no, you're not. Nobody can fall back from this unless you're vehicles and shit. So it's pretty, it's just some play. Let's just lay it down. Rotate, guys. Lessons learned from the other side. Let's get a little wider. Okay, a little bit of flow improver to help keep the tip from drying up too fast. Gotta be willing to take it just a little wider. I'm gonna show it a little bit more respect. We're gonna go back with a little bit more black. Be a little bit more. Use the heart pull right there to kind of just filter that one down. Use a little bit more moisture that time. We're just gonna kind of hit the lower shelves of this vent right here. There we go. We're almost there. Rinse it, warg. Interested to see how you differentiate the tires for the black Still using Secret Weapon Tire paint tech, War Pigment. I mean, War Pigment, Warg. No. But you can use the fundamentals. It's just a black-green. Alright. Let's get some of these nuts done real quick. Still have 15 minutes left in our Top D giveaway tonight. We're giving away Rumble Slam miniatures plus my painted Senilian, my first Rumble Slam model. Let's get the undershelves on these little panels right here. Tight. All right. Now we got one more section of the bike. We've got to get this back section. So let's get our black gray together. A touch of white. So we got to catch this panel right here. It's not easy to access. So I just used the heart pull right there instead of a tracer. I'm gonna get a little wider than that. Using that tracing technique. We're gonna do a secondary heart pull right here. Or see, I think we can trace in right here. Or, yep. Not bad. Slide in right here. A little bit wider. Trying to get this panel a little bit. There we go. Now let's get those nuts. And the Jack with leadership. Wazaro, yeah, morale manipulation is not very effective in the game right now. It depends on what they do. Like, there's multiple wordings that they're really trying to make the Chaos Knights effective with leadership manipulation. So you've got two things. You've got a leadership test and you've got morale, right? And a lot of things in the game don't give a fuck about you manipulating the morale step. Like, so many things in the game are like, ignore modifiers in the morale phase. Counts as one more. Ignore immune to morale test. Like, there's so much stuff. It doesn't matter. And it's not like you're gonna like lose a whole lot of models. Like, it's so situational. To me, it's like a waste to have somebody's primary thing be to fuck with someone's leadership. Unless there's like a whole bunch of things that unlocks. I think it's such a like just outdated rule. Like, it cannot be the center stage. Like, if their whole thing is like they scare you, like they're scary and they're like terrifying, then let's be. And if that's an effective thing that they do, like they effectively terrify people, unfortunately, manipulating morale is not effective. So clearly, they're doing something else. If their canon says that they have an effective way of terrifying the enemy. Right? So give them some way to benefit from the enemy being terrified on the table. So why not -1 to hit? -1 to hit in close combat. Instantly better. Like, because, you know, manipulating morale requires them to be close to you anyway. So why don't you just say, like, the enemy's terrified. -1 to hit, close combat. Like out of here. I just fixed it. GW, anytime, call me. Free consultations. Deathwalker, they need to make it so you autofail morale. Even that doesn't matter. Okay, autofail morale. Now what? Okay, I have failed morale. Now you roll a dice for every guy in the squad, and ones they die. So, like, mathematically, you don't kill a single Space Marine in a 5-man squad. So, like, again, it's not a very effective way of scaring people, is it? You know? And to make somebody take a morale test, you have to, you know, do a certain percentage of casualties. So you have to, like, you have to, like, inflict damage on a unit, not actually kill the unit, be within range for them to have to take this morale test. Like, this is like the most ineffective way to play 40k. Like, when you shoot something, you should be killing it. Not, you know what I mean? Like, not sack a bunch of your dope rules for something that doesn't come up very often. Like, I hate morale rules. About 9.5 minutes left in today's big giveaway, guys. Let's see if we can jump in. Let's see if we can get this armor done real quick. Let's get some respect. Okay, here we go. Heart pull. Heart pull. See, sometimes it's just way faster to just do a bunch of heart pulls instead of tracers. Now we're going to upgrade how bright that mix is. A little bit of white. And so I'll just go back to black real quick and just kind of feather out how thick that line got. Kind of sculpt it. And this is why Chaplain black is so easy, because the editing process of just going back to black, super easy. Pow! Breaking back 4th edition rules initiative, sweeping advances, and other bullshit like that. Dredge, yeah. And it does slow the game down too, Love Minis. It's a mechanic that they've been trying to perfect forever. I mean, dude, morale is so useless right now in the game. But it does make it safer to run big units. Just knocking it out. Here we go. Look at this. Beautiful. Guys, we're running out of time, man. 6.5 minutes left in our Senillion giveaway right now. Rottweiler on top. Bonus giveaways. Got gift bags getting ready to go out this week. Got Rumble Slam, Dark Angels, Creature Caster, all sorts of sick minis getting ready to go out. Thank you guys, as always. Jimmy, leadership in 5th? Man, you want... That's to make some people mad in that shit. You know how many times I would escort a Thunderwolf cavalry unit off the table? Stipples. We got to get into this field right here. Heart pull. Heart pull. Now, what we could do is go back in time and respect it a little bit more. And kind of connect the dots. Filter it down. Let's get a heart pull right here. Almost there. What a big baby. I think they did a pretty good job with Chaos Knights having charge distances. See, that's different. See, that's what I'm saying. They're putting a lot of stock into leadership manipulation of the Chaos Knight Codex. See, that's different than morale manipulation. Because what they have, what a big baby, is a bunch of things that occur based on manipulating your leadership characteristic and making you fail dread tests, which are leadership tests, not morale. So having it unlock a bunch of cool bonus things, that's cool. So they put a lot of stock into that. Unfortunately, you know, we're stuck right now with Night Lords is like -1. Okay, so what do I do with that? Well, you know, when you got to make someone take a morale test, they have less leadership. Okay, great. What do I do with that? Just editing that line right there. That highlight got a little fat. So what you want to do is just let it dry for a second. Pick up some black. Recoil. Recoil, I'm using some black to glaze edit right there. Right there. Bringing some black back in. Yo, Strongman Love for Recoil jumping in on my final 4. I think he's moving up to the top for the Senillion with 2 minutes, 14 seconds left on the clock. My first ever Rumble Slam miniature. Looking for a new home tonight with consolation prizes for all the runners up. God's the Unjust in chat. What's up, brother? Anybody who's curious, with 1 minute, 53 seconds left on the clock, here he is, our first Rumble Slam miniature. You can't see him. He is totally not John Cena, the Senillion. We painted him together over the weekend. My first model from Rumble Slam. I love this fucking game system. They talked me into it at fucking Adepticon, TT Combat, ! Rumble Slam. Signed his wrestling card, and in about a minute and a half, somebody's gonna take him home. While we're edge highlighting black on Primaris Chaplain. And I think we did it, because this shoulder pad's gonna be red. So, guess I gotta do the backpack too. Love Minis, the Beast, put some overtime on the clock for us like the legend that she is. Got our boy Rottweiler in here as well. What is it? Shout out to Love Minis and Rottweiler. Love Minis, 200 Yodogs for Love Minis, like the bot dropped you. Thank you guys so much. We have 1:50 on overtime. Repray says, love your enthusiasm over make-believe miniature. I'm just glad you actually started something with this bike. Repray. Good one. Look, I know that you think that I haven't painted the Senillion because you can't see him, but I assure you I've painted him.
It's time to get swifty. Uh-oh. You gotta get swifty. Oh, yeah. Take off your pants and your panties. Shit on the floor.
We're just sneaking in here trying to get that cross-section on that gas tank with 1 minute and 9 seconds left in the overtime clock. Shout out to Recoil. Rottweiler, I love minis. We're in the final stretch here of overtime. And I'm just trying to use a little black to kind of control that line work in there a little bit. And you see as it dries up, it's going to be a little bit more subtle. Reset. Gon's the Unjust, my dude. Let me get some strong man love in the chat for my boy Gons the Unjust. Thank you so much, homie. How the Chaos Knights coming, Ganj? Says, not a huge fan of wrestling, but I'm a fan of your stream and that mini looks cool. Thanks, dog. Gosney and Jess coming in, supporting me like the legend that he is. But everyone is a fan of John Cena. Who isn't a fan of John Cena? Raise your hand. If you don't like John Cena, raise your hand. I don't see anybody raising their hand. Recoil dropping a 20 spot to fucking gangster. Legend. 2 minutes overtime still on the clock. Dark Fluid GM, thank you for the follow. Deathwalker. I like a wrestler promo video. The whole stream is like, it's like, Next Level Painting is like a wrestling promo video, the whole stream, all the time. Yeah, I can see that.
His name is John Cena.
Let's get some quick lines here while we got some overtime on the clock because of Rottweiler and Recoil. Using some heart pull strategies on the backpack there. Ganj says, slowly got my box set today. Unfortunately, been working days and nights the last week, so no time to paint. Man, I'm sorry. I know what it's like to be itching to be painting those minis. Ganj, I'm just dropping some edge highlight trace technique right here. Rotate the model. Ganj knows he's got his black belt certification in the strategies and techniques of the 101 system. And a minute 29 in the overtime clock. Thank you guys so much for your support. I can't do it without you. Looks like Recoil back on top. With a minute 5 on the clock as we pop out some icy, high opacity, low moisture highlights on the top of this backpack.
It's so damn hot. Milk was a bad choice.
Rottweiler. Rottweiler coming in with the legendary support. Models looking tight. Frozen Hobbit as well. Frozen Hobbit, aren't you the arch nemesis of Rottweiler? You can't see him. Frozen Hobbit from the frozen north. I don't know where the Hobbit part comes in your name. Are hobbits from the Shire? Max Payne, I'll raise my hand. What? You don't like John Cena? I don't believe you. Minute 44 seconds, just a contrarian. 44 seconds, minute 44 seconds. Yes, I am his arch nemesis, Frozen Hobbit says. Okay, let's see if we can get a quick heart pull right here. And that might be too aggressive. This is where I'm not really respecting it. And this is where the editing process comes into play.
And his name is
Oh!
John Cena.
Khan's the Unjust. Khan's the Unjust says Johnny C. rocks, even if you don't like wrestling. That's right, baby. That's right. Khan's the Unjust, gonna get some strong man love in the chat, exclamation point, hyphy, all day, every day. Frozen Hobbit says, they called me the Hobbit when I was in the army, because I'm short AF, and like to eat. Very Hobbit-like of you. Rottweiler says, we have a love-hate relationship. So, right here on the backpack, I'm going to take some black. Lower the opacity a little bit with the reset from recoil. And we're going to just try to edit. Maybe with just a little bit of dark gray. Recoil understands what I'm talking about right here. There's some darker gray. We're just going to run a low opacity patch on that fat highlight I put on the backpack. Kind of repair it. Quick patch job. Recoil, thank you so much. Recoil just got his care package today. It's been fucking taking forever to smuggle stuff, to ship stuff to Australia. Rottweiler says, fuck you, Hobbit. Fair enough. Rottweiler coming in with that legendary support. Rottweiler, I'm just trying to paint these things up top here. Gotta get some strong man love in the chat from Rottweiler. Student, friend, and streamer. He does some streaming here on the platform. Alright, there's a light bevel here. I don't know if I don't know if this is worth it. Look at that. Yo, Warg with the reset. Let me get some strong man love in the chat from my man Warg. Warg, thank you. Warg, I'm gonna edit this line. I don't like this line right here. I think it's a little broken. So let's use our eyes to kind of create that dark gray again. Low opacity. Just brush it down a little bit, just to kind of knock it down one layer. And I reserve the right to come back in there and manipulate it after we paint the trim and stuff. Again, I'm gonna knock down this seam here because it's a little too bright. And we'll get all the trim done in one go. But right now we just have some clean edge highlights on the black while we were painting the bike. So at least his armor has a good framework. And we're going to be cutting in a lot of stuff on his armor. And we may have to repair edge highlights because, while we're blocking in metallics and shit like that, you might just fuck up and accidentally get some on the black. So there's no reason to go too hard when you haven't even gotten to that next step yet. But I'll take some of this gray right here, Warg. And let's just paint this skull real quick. Just get some white in there. Is that a reset? Oh! It's a double reset. Double reset. Gons the Unjust and the Rottweiler. Gon says, for the Yo Dogs and the cool model. Rottweiler says, still fuck you, Hobbit. And Talon can fuck off also. Much love. Yeah. There you have it. Gon's the Unjust. He needs some extra Yo Dogs to bot shit on him. So, what is that? 500 Yo Dogs for Gon's the Unjust. Thank you, brother. Minute 30 left. And we're just, putting some paint on that little skull right there. I like to make things somewhat bony when I can get away with it. Painting everything, all the trim metal is not always the right idea either. So I'll take some ivory real quick. And maybe, let's see how ambitious I can get here. Little ochre. With a minute left, let's get some black and ochre together. A little ivory mixed in. Oh, there's a reset. Recoil with the reset. Recoil, check it out. So this is just desaturated ochre ivory. recoil. It's desaturated because we put the black straight into it. And now what we'll do is just pick up more ivory. Be a little bit more ochre too. Get a nice base coat so you can just start seeing things in the model a little bit more. And that's a really easy way to do a warm skull. I just, used just these three right here, right? You just take some of that black and ochre, and so basically you're making like a version of gray by mixing the ivory with the black and the ochre, and it's heavily desaturated ochre. Shout out to SNG. Start SN Grins. See, we're just going to lay down that first base coat. Kind of this warm gray we made. Take some more of the highlight color. Put a little bit in there, but try to keep some of it intact in the shadows. So you get a nice, pretty finish there. Let it dry, come back to it. Now the ones on his knees, I did them cool. But I could just as easily say, you know what? I don't like that. Right? With 44 seconds left, we'll switch it over. We'll just lightly repaint this cool gray with our warmer color palette with a reset Rottweiler coming in. And Rottweiler, I'm going to send some ivory back in. And so, see the difference of putting that in the warm spectrum. Oh, that was Gons the Unjust and Rottweiler. Second time, fuck you, Hobbit. F off, Talon. Again. He's going in for the 2-time. Right there. Much love for my man, Rottweiler and Gons. The bot shall be shitting on somebody. And it's gonna who's it gonna shit on? Shits on Gons again. 500 Yodogs for Gons. Thank you. Warg. Yeah, it's invisible. We're gonna warm this one up too. Shout out to Gons and Rottweiler. Let's just redo this one. I think I like the warm approach more in this. On the Chaplain. And it's just super easy. You see now it's dried for a second. Look how nice it looks for a good base coat. And now you can, if we have time, 53 seconds left, here's some ochre and some of this ivory, some of the desaturated qualities from the black here. A little bit of water. And you can kind of repaint some of that highlight area. Very low opacity, see? You can start to get a really nice effect here, Rottweiler. Third time, Frozen. You up. Frozen must be taking a shit. Oh, Frozen came up first. Oh, sorry, I was reading it out of order. Or was I? Frozen Hobbit said, "Go home, Rottweiler, you're drunk. Plus, I want to eat those cornflakes I've been pissing in." Nice. Rottweiler said, "Third time, you're up. Let's go." And Recoil dropping in. The bot's definitely going to show on one of these legendary individuals. And you can see how easy it is to do skulls with almost no color, guys. All we're doing is using the ochre to make a warm gray and ivory to be our pseudo white. You see, you get a real nice color combination. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Right? Take a little bit more of that pure ivory. All right, we'll do a hard edge on the top there. Just like that. Wow, son. Look how pretty that is. Fucking skull art on this death... This, I want to say, death priest guy. Murder priest. Shout out to Rottweiler. Wrong, frozen, wrong. Go to the McD's and get the chicken wing sandwich. Okay, who did the bot actually sit on all of that? Shed on Frozen. 130 Yoda. I need 130 Yodox for Frozen. Do I think about painting the bike red because he's black? Did I think about it? Recoil? That's a good point. Bike could have been red, but then it'd just be another painting a red bike tutorial, which, you know, I've been doing a lot of those lately. And I didn't think of it. And I didn't think of it on top of it. And I ended on top of it. It did not go through my mind. So we can get a nice hard edge right here. Some ivory. Heart pulls. Pow! 59 seconds left, guys. Reset. God's the unjust. Says, okay, so now I need to buy this Rumble Slam game or whatever. Or whatever. Did you just Google it finally and see how fucking amazing it is? Bro, we did a TC Combat did a demo for us at Adepticon, and we all bought in. Like, we were just like, this is the greatest fucking game ever. It's like Blood Bowl, but pro wrestling. Yo, about a minute 30 on the clock. My man Ganja is a legend. Rabbit Turtle Studios, Dark Angels, Raven Wing Chaplain. It's a Blood Angels Chaplain. Pow. We're gonna paint that shoulder pad red when we get a chance. Right now, I'm just finalizing some of these. We did all this cool gray, and now I'm doing this like really ghetto warm gray. On these little skulls, just real quick, using the same fundamentals of the paint along. And it's probably a test bed for what I'm gonna do his face too. I'm just holding off on that right now. I'm just trying to finalize. Well, but the point of this video was, if you're gonna modulate black, how to do it so it doesn't suck. And also, you still have to edge highlight your fucking models. Don't get it in your head that like you're gonna modulate black, wash it, and not edge highlight it. It's never gonna look dope. It's never gonna look this dope. And I just showed you how easy it is to edge highlight this model. 15 seconds left on the clock. 10 seconds left on the clock. I'm watching it. Overtime clock. 5. For when I hit 0, that's it. Congratulations, Gon's the Unjust. Gon says, okay, I can get into that. Love Bowl. Blood Bowl is... Okay, it's... Nothing changes in there? Okay, nothing changes in there. Shout out to Rottweiler.